Thank you for watching. Due to so many platforms closing in on the tough topics, if you have to hear ads, I do not know what they are, but they are on platforms that give me the opportunity to share my work. Thank you for understanding.
Hello, I'm your host Trinity. This is Esoteric-Truth Radio Love Spiracy. I'm glad that you're here. I'd like to get directly to the point. This is about what happened last night, early morning, us bombing of Venezuela. Here are some key points that I need you to understand as we kind of go through this. One, all the information I'm going to give you is not from mainstream news unless you actually go into the Venezuelan newspapers or news articles. You're not going to hear what I'm about to say. If you went to CBS or you went to Fox or blah, blah, blah. I only got this from Venezuela. That's it. And people that study Venezuela and only discuss Venezuela. That's it. Their people and how things go down there and how people feel there as opposed to what's going on and how we're acting like they're the happiest people in the world. So stick with me. If I sound a little throaty, I'm sorry. I'm not really feeling that well, but I wanted to get this out. When we went with shock and awe to get Saddam Hussein out, there was a picture of some people, toppling it, and they had like a rope around it, and they were pulling it down while other people in the background are jumping up and down, and it was this whole scene. Years later, photos of the same incident came out, and they were backed up. There was about 50 people there. When you see the original thing that came out of the news, you would assume thousands. When you zoom out, you see about 50. Same way that Trump has his rallies and they got a real close-up shot. He's got about 30, 40, 50 people behind him. And then people go to the same event and all the seats are empty. Everybody's concentrated in one place to give you the illusion that they have more people there than you think. That's what's happening here. Venezuelans have been through it. Yes, he was a dictator. Yes, the economy in his country. Yes, everything they said. And they wanted him out. They took to the streets. They were yelling and screaming and protesting. I mean, all of it. All of it. That's fine. That's their country. That's what they do. Here's what they didn't want. They didn't want the U.S. to go and take their dude. Now, let's switch it around. Another country would come into the U.S., take Donald and Melania, right? Take them on a plane for war crimes, put them on trial, right? And you're saying, oh, well, why would they do that? Okay. How many times? I think 2 times we had the No Kings protests. One had 2 million, the second had 5. People are protesting in the streets right now. Other countries are fully aware of what ICE is doing in this country, how we're selling our citizens, how we're putting them in different countries, and we sell them everywhere. Every time we get somebody, every time we take somebody, we sell them. There's another country that made an agreement to buy citizens, and they get sent there. They know that we're not going to have medical care. They know that food stamps have been taken. They know that the education system's going to shit because apparently WWE's wife is running the education system. We got JFK Jr. Okay, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. Just keep that in mind as we go on. It's the same thing both ways. We did this with Saddam Hussein, and then we went into the country that we were like, hey, we're going to give you some democracy. We tore everything down, we took everything we can, and we left everybody in rubble to rebuild on their own, right? And then we put up another base because that's what we do. We did the same thing with Gaddafi. And I remember, I think it was a year or 2 ago, that Gaddafi had made a statement to U.S. citizens, warning them about what was going to happen to this country, that it was going to happen. But him and other African nations were coming up with a new currency that was going to topple the dollar. He had to go. Most of these countries have free healthcare, free education. I think I think Gaddafi's people, every time they had a baby, they got $5,000 and a car. Like, the give and take process in a lot of these countries just happens to be different the way we do it here. If you're thinking that we're going to go and we're going to give democracy to everybody and we don't realize we're in a third world country, then we need to wake the hell up, because we've been in the third world for a very long time. I think we're just the most oblivious to it. So Trump's making these ballrooms and a bunker, by the way, within the ballroom, because he knows shit's about to go down. So we see the faces of money, right? We see Zuckerberg. We see, oh, what the hell's his name? We see, I think, Gates. We see Bezos. We see crypto dudes, and we see all of this stuff. Those are the faces that we see. And we think, or I'm sorry, most people think that that's the only money that's involved with this. And it's not. The amount of protection that he has, the audacity that he has, is for a very specific reason. I did another audio, it wasn't recording. Here's the analysis I put that we could all understand. When we were all growing up, we had cliques, right? You were the nerd, or you were goth, or you were cool, whatever. But everybody had a group. Most of those groups had a leader, right? It's like a gang. Right? Look, cliques, gangs, same thing. So what happens? You have the leader, and the leader controls everything. Let's put this in the analysis of what's going on with Trump right now, right? He's the leader of the gang, right? So he's got all of these little minions that are like, oh, yes, sir, no, sir. You ever ask yourself, why? Does that make any sense? And it does. He's got the biggest toys, He's got all the basketballs to the court. He's got all the tennis balls. He's got everything. He's got the military. He's got the bombers. He's got the tanks. He's got the drones. He got it all. Why would you not want to be his friend? The second he came in, he was like, I'm taking over the world. And that's because he has the biggest military on hand, and apparently convincing these people to break the law. And just like a veteran that I saw this morning, he said, listen, if you are doing this, if you are on a ship, or you were in a plane, or you went in a helicopter this morning, and you bombed these civilians, because yes, according to Venezuela, I'm not talking about American news. Venezuela has reported that some residential areas have been hit. That if they did that, they're going to jail. They're going to go to jail. He was like, remember when we came back from Iraq and Afghanistan? People were proud of us and we had a great homecoming. He was like, you're going to come back and they're going to hate you. Everybody's going to hate you. Don't wait for a homecoming. Don't wait for a high five. Don't wait for a discount at Denny's. You're not getting anything. Nobody wanted us to go into this country, especially Venezuelans. They did not want that. So I'm going to read you a little bit of an article, and this is at VenezuelaAnalysis.com. This is solely dedicated to Venezuelan news. No other news, except about the nonsense that we're into. So I want to read some of this article, so I make sure that I get it correctly. Okay, it says It says Washington's unprovoked aggression against Venezuela and the likely coming ground attack. This was written today. Are attempting at reimposing proud, stable democracy in the country, in the words of the U.S. front surrogate Maria Cornelia Machado. When you decode the meaning of those words as the pretext put forth for U.S. aggression, you will find a remarkable culture of terrorism and gangsterism on display. Let us take a look. The initial pretext was that Venezuela was exporting narco-terrorists. The unknowingly fraudulent story did not merit even laughter by the U.S. intelligence agencies and the DEA. In the DEA's most recent report, Venezuela is mentioned in only one single paragraph. In fact, Venezuela did not merit even a single mention in the 100 pages long 2025 UN World Drug Report. just like the EU's own annual drug assessment report. Nevertheless, Western media still insistently reported the fabricated charges without comment, while omitting the conclusion from Western intelligence. Since it reached the wrong conclusion, the civility could not be more startling. U.S. propaganda then had to shift its main focus back to its staple. Maduro, the dictator, must be removed. Maduro ramps up repression in Venezuela, noted CNN, which failed to mention that the country is, after all, under a multi pronged attack by a superpower. Keep that in mind. I don't know what that noise is. Oh, if you can hear that, I'm sorry. I think it's fire trucks. Anyway, CNN did not mention either that no opposition funded and directed by a hostile superpower would ever be tolerated in the West's best friend, like Egypt, Israel, the Philippines, and so on. Countries that routinely murder, not just imprison, their opposition under far less circumstances. The thought that such opposition would parade the capital calling for the overthrow of the government in any of these states is plainly absurd. However, that is exactly what happened in Venezuela. The CIA sponsored figurehead Juan Guaido in 2019. It is Venezuela alone that must live up to such standards. The idea that promotion could be real motivation behind hostility is too ridiculous to even merit a comment. After all, the West lends its full support and sends hundreds of billions in arms to ICJ and ICC indicated Israel, Saudi Arabia, which doesn't even pretend to have elections, Egypt, and so on. I'm so sorry that's getting even louder. I'm going to try to speak up. I can't do anything about a fire truck. Incidentally, for those interested in actual election fraud in Latin America, there is certainly no shortage of issues to be concerned about, namely the election manipulations that are run out of Washington, which is by far the league leader. Yes, us. I cannot believe this. Okay, anyway, it'll just put in the ambiance of attacking and chaos and whatever. Anyway, so like I said here, we had the same issue, right? And then we had January 6th. We had this dude talking about this for what? Over 10 years? All right, I'm going to put this on. I'm going to have to pause this. This is way too loud. Okay. Yeah, now I can barely hear it. Ugh. Anyway, so I'm almost done. Just to pick a few examples known to all media offices, though few, if any, care. All right, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to pause this for a second and get that to stop. What is it? Every fucking fire truck in Muskogee? Yeah, I see smoke. I don't know why this color here. That's super weird. Okay, I think things are a little bit better now. I did go out on my balcony and I saw a bunch of smoke, so that's why we heard it so close. Anyway, let me go back on to the article. So it says here, Trump is effectively bribing Honduran voters to restore narco trafficking government to power. Please keep in mind that when I read the next part, what has been happening while we're distracted with everything else. Okay. Uh, okay, yeah. Trump demanded that they vote for Tito Asfuran, the colleague of the indicted narco trafficker he just pardoned, Juan Orlando Hernandez, or else the U.S. would withhold aid to the country, effectively threatening to destroy the Honduran economy unless the country elects the oligarch run National Party. Trump deployed the same strategy in Argentina in October 2025's midterm election, in which he threatened to withhold $20 billion bailout, successfully strong army voters that they're into backing the party of the country's mentally unstable president, Javier Milei, with a naval armada outside their shores to display what will happen if countries disobey. Washington thus sends the appropriate message. Quote, you are free to choose as long as it's the right guys. Otherwise, you will starve. Thus, no reason for going to war with Venezuela worthy even of consideration from anyone with two functioning brain cells has been put forth. The actual reason is explained openly by the aggressors themselves. In Trump's own words, quote, when I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door. Most recently, perhaps tired of the narco-terrorism script, Trump conceded that he wants, quote, the oil and land rights. Okay. The pitch was further explained by Washington's minion, Machado, in a speech to the American Business Forum. As soon as she leads a quote proud stable democracy, there will be massive privatization programs offering $1.7 trillion opportunity. We will open markets and American companies are in, a super strategic position to invest. This country, Venezuela, is going to be the brightest opportunity for investment of American companies, which are going to make a lot of money. The only criticism found in the political and media establishment against an attack then is tactical concerns. Will it work? Will Trump get away with the aggression? Thus, coup plotter Elliot Abrams explained that Venezuela previously was a democracy and has a long democratic history, in which he must mean as a U.S. run junta and stage colony, if words have any meaning whatsoever. If an aggression is successful, and it was, oil production can start rising again, as it was before the Chavez Maduro years. Venezuela can be a major supplier of oil to the United States and partner in Latin America. Hopefully, Cuba and Nicaragua will fall too. But aggression could hurt America. Clout on the international stage. Abrams concludes by complaining that the economic and diplomatic pressure we put on Maduro in the first term was simply not enough. So, I'm not going to keep going. It's a lot more after this. Keep in mind, we only hit Venezuela, right? We kind of been dabbling around. So if you listen to some of what was told today, he was pretty much explaining we've been on this for months. There's a guy that used to be in the and I can't remember his name right now because I watched it earlier. There was a guy who said Maduro got sold out. Maduro got sold out. There's no way that the people around him didn't get paid off. There's no way that the U.S. could have found exactly what. Listen, I'm not saying we're not smart. I'm not saying we're not strategic. Sorry, I'm saying that there's no way we get his exact address with all his people. Right? He's not just running around by himself. He don't got like a dog for protection. He's got guards. He's got armed guards. He's got fortress doors. He's got a panic room. Right? How'd they find him? How'd they find him? They know exactly where to go. He was like, hey, it was the middle of the night. We got into his room. We blew it up. It was kind of thick. We came in, and we put them in jail. That's it. We took them and then we put them on a plane. So now we got to find out who sold them out. Because it couldn't have just been one person. Because they already wanted. So the vice president, I can't remember her name, but the vice president obviously became the president now. So either she had something to do with it. And now, mind you, the country is still asking for proof of life. When you do little things like this, there is a possibility you kill someone, right? We did that with Bin Laden. I think we killed him at his house. I don't know. Anyway, that was the point. Places like Chevron, Shell, all of these oil companies are in. we keep paying attention to the crypto dudes, the um the media dudes. That doesn't count. You could take all the Bezos shit. You could take all of that stuff, right? Add it all together. If you take Venezuela, if you take Nicaragua, which seems to be somewhat on the table right now, if you put in at least 2 or 3 other countries and we do the same thing, their money is trash. Their money wouldn't even count. Oil is where it's at. That's been since the beginning of time. Our country was built on oil. Other countries have a lot, other countries don't. It would be easier for us to take the oil from somebody that's close than somebody who's much further away. Remember the BP oil spill? I'm going to do a show about that actually. The BP oil spill. In my brain, I assumed that BP got in trouble because it was BP's pipeline. But I thought like they were bringing oil here. No, we were shipping oil to them because Louisiana has a ton of oil. Okay, I'm just gonna snitch about it right now. I don't have to do a show. I'll leave this for you. Louisiana is one of the poorest places in the United States. The Gulf is where the oil is, right on the ground. We have this giant pipeline, and it goes to a lot of different places. I mean, we have so much oil in this country. Louisiana is super poor. Do you know why they're poor? Because the area that's right around the pipeline and when we know the exact oil hits, we moved people back far enough where they wouldn't literally be on the land and they wouldn't be able to get money for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say, okay, so I have a friend who had a big giant piece of land, and then a tower for a cell tower wanted to be built. So they had to ask her, and then she said yes. They built the tower on her property. So she got free stuff, but they gave her money for putting it there. So if people in Louisiana actually lived on the land or on the, on the land in the area where the oil gets extracted from, they would have to get money. That money would have to go back into the people that actually live there. But if nobody lives there, you don't got to get anybody nothing. So there's people that live, I don't know, 2 miles away from where everybody in Louisiana could be rich. And they don't do it. So we had the oil spill. I had no idea we had oil here because we're always complaining we're buying it from other countries. Apparently, that's not an issue. We make tons of money selling oil. So, with that being said, this is just the beginning. I think we're going to try to take over more places in Latin America. I think that right now, I did hear that there was going to be an emergency UN meeting. They spoke to the guy in France, and he was like, I don't got nothing to do with this. I'm just going to say that right now. He was like, we have to have a discussion. And at the UN, we decided to have a meeting later on today. And mind you, it was Saturday. Things like this usually don't happen on the weekend. He was like, we have to have this meeting. We have to have this discussion because I know there's a process that the U.S. is supposed to go through in order to pull off a stunt like this. We need to find out if he did it. So if they would have paid attention to the rest of that news conference where he babbled on for 40 minutes, he actually said that the only reason why he didn't ask Congress for permission was because he was afraid they were going to snitch, that they were going to blow the whole thing out of the water, that they were going to tell Congress, and Congress was going to go to the closest newspaper, and then they were going to tell everybody, and then that's how it was going to go down. And then that's why he didn't say anything. So that's where we're at. I'm going to try to do another show tomorrow. I hope that this opened up your eyes a little bit. There are certain places in the country, especially Florida, where most Latin Americans live. There are people jumping up and down. You can just look it up and say the people that are happy that Maduro was taken. And, they're out there in the streets. They're with the flag. They're jumping up and down. Here's the thing. They reported 12 to 15 people. Venezuela was going what they were going through. We clearly understand that. That's their problem. That's not our problem. You know when it's going to become our problem? When they see that he keeps doing this, and now they need to share their democracy with us. We have oil. We have resources. Nobody wants to think about that, right? All they got to do is do the same thing they did to Maduro. He's much dumber. He's much dumber. Should they be able to find him? He's got a sign that says the Oval Office. It'll take them 10 seconds. They'll be like, oh shit, he's got a sign right there. I'm sure he's got signs everywhere. Bathroom, bedroom. What do you think would happen? Do you think there aren't other countries that have always waited for this moment? The minute we start putting troops on the ground in Venezuela, troops won't be here. I don't know why people don't understand that. As soon as that happens, we're left wide open. And people are upset. Countries are upset. They laugh at him behind his back. They know that they only need one shot. That's it. And this dude's so dumb that he'll try to send everybody. Because I'm still trying to figure out why he keeps saying the military and law enforcement. I have no idea what that means. He's saying every single time he's saying something, he's like, our military and law enforcement. Law enforcement is Leo's. He's sending cops? Like, I don't know. When I figure that out, I'll do something about it. But I thought it was odd. I never heard of anything like that. I don't know if he's sending ICE agents. I don't know what he's doing. But law enforcement means something different from military. So hopefully he wasn't sending ICE agents. I believe he's stupid enough to do it. I mean, if you really think about it, I could see him taking ICE agents and putting them on the ground as fodder, you know? And we're like, oh, well, if we lose them, at least it's not the military. So I wish I would be saying something much better, but I also hope you can understand exactly what's going on. Again, this did not happen. Over there for just no apparent reason. This isn't coming from the mainstream media because they're not going to tell you that. I believe he's going to try to hit Nicaragua. He might even try to hit Cuba. This dude don't have a lot of sense, but he's got a lot of financial backing. And they want that oil, and they want those resources, and they want something that's close. They know they can't pull this off in Africa. They could go and bomb Iran. They could do all these little things. They do little things, but they can't full on go to these places. Because they're more united than they were during shock and awe. And George W. Bush's day. He can't. It wouldn't be allowed. It wouldn't be allowed. Or it'd be more difficult than he thinks. The fact that, and don't forget, he's also selling our top-notch shit to the Middle East. It's like he has no common sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're a gangster and he's a gangster and you have better weapons, you don't go sell it to him and he don't like you. It's going to be one of these things where we're getting attacked by our own weapons. Do you know that in most countries that are having wars, especially in countries that are mostly huts and people living in caves with goats and shit, and then you're like, where did they get all these machine guns? They get them from us. We send them there. We get the people that are starting the wars, and we're like, listen, you get us these resources, we'll give you weapons to take over the villages. Where do you think those AK-47s are coming from? You think they're building them out of mud and getting bullets? No. They find the toughest, meanest son of a bitch. They offer and they say, hey, this is what we're going to do. I'll give you this. You give me that. And they make that deal. We have to start paying attention to the blowback that's going to happen if we don't get involved. And I don't mean in that way. I'm talking about getting this dude out of office. We can't keep doing it. We're going too far. He has to get out. He has to get out. Okay, I'm your host, Trinity. This is Esoteric-Truth Radio Love Spiracy. I hope you learned something today. If you did and you'd like to follow, please do. I'm going to try to do another video after later on today when I get a little bit more information. It will still be based in Venezuela only. And it'd be nice if we could catch up and see what's going on there after a few more hours, and especially after they watch this dumbass talk at a news conference. All right. So thank you for joining me, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.